103.5 WEZL on the web at WEZL.com. It's 8:12. It's 12 minutes after. What was that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
No
No,
idea.
don't bring
I have
that
no
up.
idea what most of the movies you watch are, and I have no idea where you find them.
It was a famous movie back in. We were sitting here talking about movies, talking about Johnny Depp, and the fact that he was the voice of the lead character in that Rango movie over the weekend.
Rango.
He does a lot of
But
that.
he plays such a wide variety of characters.
And they say when he actually only does it because I guess they pay him enough money. If it, not that he needs it.
He can express himself. He can be his own.
But he said if he had his choice, he'd just soon sit at the house and play ball with the kids.
I've heard that he has never watched one of his movies.
That's what I heard too. Never watches. Said he's never seen them, any of them.
Well, what you said about his kids is right, because I saw a documentary yesterday on Biography Channel about a 2-hour special about Johnny Depp, and that's all he wants to do is be with his kids.
And I love Johnny Depp. I have just. And I like a lot of his darker movies, the ones you said you hadn't seen. He does a lot of movies that deal with insanity, and I understand that.
Yes.
I relate very well to a lot of those characters.
Like Edward Scissorhands and
Well,
stuff.
no, I don't think that was about insanity. That's about as normal as anything he does. It was, he did one called The Secret Window where he was insane and didn't know it, and that was very suspenseful and tense. Did one called, I think it was The Seven Gates or something like that, about a guy who he's a private detective who searches down very rare books and gets paid big money in the dark world that that kind of stuff. He did one I think called From Hell. Which was about the detective that was trying to track down and solve the murders with Jack the Ripper in England. I mean, he does a lot of dark little stuff, like that.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that was in Charlie the Chocolate Factory. That scared me.
Weird.
That scared me. I couldn't watch all that.
Sweeney Todd.
Now, Sweeney Todd was interesting because it was bloody, but it was entertaining at the same time. I don't know.
Was it a musical?
There's a play. I don't.
Yeah, it's on Broadway.
I know
think,
it's on Broadway.
I would like to see that, but I didn't want to see it because it was too gruesome.
They did sing in it, but the bloody stuff balanced out. Okay, I could handle it.
Yeah.
It's like he was cutting somebody's throat and they'd break into song, and and it was interesting.
And then there's Captain Jack Sparrow, who he says he fashioned after Keith Richards.
But what was it that led us to the conversation about a movie I saw back in the 70s?
You know what it was.
He wasn't in that one, was he?
No, but it was about a guy who was trying to sneak heroin out of Turkey and got busted and thrown into this god-awful, horrible hole of humanity in a prison and was never going to get out. And he was, it was just the darkest, most uncomfortable, horrible movie. And I was trying to tell you, because he ended up biting the guy's tongue off at one point, and they got in a fight, and he bit the jailer's tongue off. Because that jailer was a bad boy. He was a mean man. But I cannot think of the name of that, what that was. The only time this guy was ever in a movie, as far as I know, was he played the lead in that movie. And it was
in the 70s?
And it was huge, yeah. It was a big movie. Rick wouldn't know because he wasn't alive.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I guess you didn't go see drug movies, did you?
No.
I don't think I've ever.
And it scared me to death because I saw it just as I was getting ready to go overseas in the Army. And I said, well, if that's what they do to you overseas, I'm not going. And Sergeant says, a little late to think about that now, boy. Just don't get in trouble and you won't go to prison. But it was because they made us watch that. They made us watch The Deer Hunter. And there was one other we had to watch. The Boys of Company C. Is what we had to watch before we went overseas.
I can't think of a situation that would put me in a position where I would be able to bite another man's tongue off.
Well, he didn't expect to be in this situation.
Okay.
Let me just say, it wasn't like, he was, they weren't sitting at the table,
Okay.
playing cards or something. You know what I'm saying?
Was it Midnight Express?
Midnight Express. Midnight Express exactly is what it was. But that was one of the most intense, when I walked away from it, just wanted to just peel my skin off kind of feelings. It was just awful.
Yeah.
It's like Deliverance. I saw that one time, and I never wanted to see it again.
Bo Hopkins and Randy Quaid were in that movie.
What?
Midnight Express.
Really?
That's what it says.
I remember Randy
1978.
Quaid. I remember Randy Quaid. I do remember him. I didn't know who he was at that time. But they weren't the lead characters. That guy's name was Well, anyway. But sometimes these movies, I really enjoy those that take you places that scare the hell out of you. You know what I'm saying?
I Googled Midnight Express. Look what I got.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, that's the Midnight Express.
With Jim
The
Cornette.
Wrestlers with Jim
Yeah.
Cornette.
I used to sell pictures for one of them.
I bet Jim Cornette's bit a man's tongue off.
Gosh, that's awful.
And I bet you they weren't playing cards either. It's 8:17.
Now, Weasel Total Traffic from the Gerald's Tires